You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything
Some
I'm
people open
reflecting
up their eyes
in.
and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Me more insight, me vision, me direction when I'm blinded. And I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And the conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God.
See God in anything
When I talk to God.
find God in anything.
When I talk to
You
God.
can see God in anything.
When I talk to
I
God.
can find God in anything.
When I talk to God.
See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
My daddy said, don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of this man created religions. His faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it, I swear this one hell of a mental illness. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? The fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peek the booze. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy moonwalking on water tides. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a guy when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to. When you ready to face the truth, you realize that that voice is you.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
Yo, what it is? Let me make sure y'all can hear me. What's up, family? How y'all doing? Welcome back to another installment of The Voice of Eli. Tonight is gonna be a little bit different. Actually, this week I was hoping to kind of, break it up. We talk about the same things, but in relation with religion, to kick this right off, for those that don't have the long attention spans, I wanted to say, what's up, bro? Good to see you. For those that don't have attention span, if you're religious, right? If you're religious and you believe the Muhammad narrative, you believe the Jesus narrative, whatever it is you believe, whatever it is, right? I'm interested in how uh, this would affect, how would the discovery of extraterrestrial beings impact your belief, your faith, your religion? The reason I think that it's something that even religious folk should think about or should at least be mindful of, that there is a conversation to be had about this, is because that is one reason people speculate. I did say in the description this is going to be a highly speculative topic because I don't know if anybody knows, but maybe we can get out some good points. We can talk about it. I think it's a good time to have the conversation. Yeah, the government is having the conversation. So it's not like, 5 or 10 or 20 years ago and even longer ago where you couldn't have the conversation and people take you seriously. I think more people are thinking about this now simply because you have some level of government disclosure. By the way, I'm not alone. I do have Robert Ash in the backstage with me, but he will be driving. But Robert, if you can hear me, um, if you wave at your camera or something, I know you're driving, but I can see if you wave over. I'll know you want to say something or come on. Um, and let me just, or you could always make it where your camera is not shown. But this is Robert. Robert, I have you on the screen just to let people know you are here. This is Mr. Robert Ash from the Thinker's Bible. He's been on the show a few different times, and so we want to welcome him to the show. Neo, good to see you up in here, sis. Yes, family. Like she said, go ahead and like the video. And I sent a number of y'all links. You know what? Let me do that before I get too deep and I forget. The reason I'm putting this link out here, y'all, I want to do some different things on the channel. I'm always trying to invite people on. That does help me in the conversation. I feel like it gives you all a better sense of the information and the flow of the content. However, I'm going to put this in here on tonight. I'll do the best I can to vet who comes on, but give me a second to type this. I want you, if you want to come on tonight, I want you to click the link. I'm going to just put join the convo. Join the convo. And if you want to come on, maybe some of y'all had experience out there. Maybe there was something you saw, experienced, and you can come on here and talk to us about it. I'm interested in hearing about that. Robert, you're on mute, which is fine. You're good where you are, but you let me know. And the reason I say that it's good, y'all, that we have this conversation, because there are some in religion that would say it would have absolutely no effect. It would not challenge your faith in any way. It wouldn't mean anything. And I'm not just saying we have to stick to the faith conversation. I just want to talk about what's going on. Just in case y'all know, I do want to have a show where we can talk about religion as it relates to different things, but maybe a little bit more than that. But so if you tie religion in it with this, that's definitely still on topic. So there are those who have said that this would destroy civilization if they were to, let's say, our government or governments around the world were in touch with beings outside of this earth, conscious, intelligent beings like ourselves, but maybe just a higher order of intelligence or advanced technology or what have you. But this is something to be talked about because it would challenge their faith. I mean, like, wouldn't it be important enough? This is just for the religious folk. Wouldn't it be important enough for that type of thing if we were going to come in contact with an alien civilization or alien beings down in the distant future? Some might say that should be something that would be in the prophecies, okay, somewhere in the book. Now, consider this for the religious and the non-religious. Really, if you believe the Jesus story, if you believe what's going on in the Bible, you already believe in extraterrestrials. Y'all understand what I'm saying? If you believe in what the Bible is already saying, you already think there's something outside of Earth. That's what the X means, outside of terrestrial, outside of Earth, that came to Earth, and that is really the definition of an ET. It's from outside of Earth. If I'm getting that right. So okay, I'm gonna try. Yeah. Okay, yeah, and what that is interesting. I'm gonna put this comment up, and good to see Robert, y'all. Rob, you're good. You can interrupt me at any time. You're just on mute. I'm just saying my little spill here because I do have some articles, some pictures. I'm a little apprehensive about showing some of the video for some copyright stuff, but I can tell y'all where to go and look up some of this stuff. So let's see if we can hear you right. It's a little choppy, but let's see if we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we hear you now. It's a little choppy, but
Okay,
go ahead.
mine's crackling, so I apologize. I just for clarity, it's not quite the same thing because extraterrestrials really refers to alien life. You know, the belief in alien life in what we call
this dimension. Like, for instance, actual beings on another physical planet somewhere, like Mars or Venus or somewhere, right? The angels and stuff really don't count, aren't really the way that the word extraterrestrial is used, right? It's good that you clarified your expanded definition. But when it's talking about extraterrestrial life, when people are talking about, they're talking about like UFOs, spaceships, ET type of stuff, Star Trek, other planets. They're not talking about angels, demons, and that sort of thing from what we might call other dimensions or whatever. I just wanted to share that. Okay.
Yeah, and I appreciate that clarity. For those who don't know, Robert is one of the Christian apologists that frequent the show, so I do appreciate him giving that clarity as to where those beings lie. We may have lost them. I was just trying to get everything straight there. But we also have Bruce. Good to see you, Bruce. I'm gonna put the link up one more time. This I'm gonna put a join the convo because it looked like it fills them together. Join the convo, and y'all really come in here because I'm really trying to make this convo because to me it's not only an interesting topic, but I think it's time to have the convo. Hold on, I see Neo, hello.
Hey, peace, Eli.
Man, this thing says what's up, peace. That convo will keep connecting with the link. I want to make sure the link is clickable for people. Let me just do the link by itself and not put any. There we go. So if y'all wanting to come on, I will vet it, but the link should be there for those that want to come on. What's up, Neo? My bad.
Hey, I'm driving right now, but when I get home, I'll be able to come in and probably click in, so we could talk more. So the subject is because I was in and out because I was on the phone. The subject is what are they? Are they real? Are you talking about like stuff that's in the Bible or people who claim it like extraterrestrial, like
So
out?
I'm time. I'm willing to have this whole I want to keep it open. So originally, this is just one of the things outside of religion that I do look into and have listened to over time. But I thought about, well, dang, I'm listening at some of what is compelling to these people, the eyewitness testimony, the written documentation, the videos, the photos, and I'm thinking, well, some of that, in my opinion, is the equivalent evidence or better evidence than we have for believing in some of the stuff in the Bible. So I'm wondering if we could tie that into the conversation. But then if somebody just wants to talk about this and not really from a religious perspective, or maybe share an experience, I'm opening this show up all week for all of that. I'm here for all of it.
I'm sorry, the signal went out. I
Oh,
ain't hear
what
nothing.
part? What?
I
Okay,
ain't hear
well,
nothing, bro.
basically, all right. The short version of what I said, I'm here for all of it. Anything got to do with extraterrestrials, whether you're looking at them from a spiritual perspective, you had your own experience, or the level of evidence for them, looking at it as the same as evidence for Jesus and stuff that happened in the Bible. We can come at this at all day. I'm here for all of it. Me personally, I just I'm really wanting to talk about what we have and whether or not this is compelling to people, whether or not you think we've been visited or not. And if we think we've been visited and you're let's say a Christian maybe, then what does that mean anything, for your faith? Or some people, someone has said in here, some people believe that these beings are uh not physical, like spiritual beings, like demons or maybe even angels. Some I've heard that before. I want to have that conversation too.
Oh, okay, I get. All right, so I get it. So when we were in the Christian faith, that's what they taught us. That one time when I told them I had a dream and something came into my room and it looked like this and all that, they say it was demonic or it's an angel, or I dream about that stuff all the time. But then, thank you. I dream about that stuff all the time, but I think I just shared on my show the other day that me and my sister witnessed, like, we believed that we saw ghosts at the same time, that it was some type of entity or shadow figure playing with our dog. when he was
Mm.
in the kennel and we was supposed to be asleep, and she thought I was playing with the dog and I thought she was playing with the dog because it was late and it was dark. And just to find out, when we finally got the nerves to get up and check, there was nobody in the room, but me and her both witnessed this at the same time. So I feel like it is a lot of spooky and supernatural stuff out there that we can't really deny. Me being a truck driver, I don't seen stuff over the road that I can't really explain. Especially in the sky, stuff falling out of the sky, flying in the sky. Especially the more that you go west of America, I keep telling them you mostly see that when you get into Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, northern Texas. Like you see stuff. So I'm open minded. So anything is possible. I don't know if I want to call it demons or angels or anything like that, but I feel like the earth still has a lot of mysteries that we're trying to uncover. So to be
Okay.
just closed minded and just dismiss it as, people being crazy or saying that it's demons and stuff, I think it's not doing us any justice. I feel like we should talk about it because these things happen. So,
Yeah.
because I,
Something's going on, right?
mm-hmm.
Something is going on, and we got the bishop is in the place. I just want him to know I see him. I'm glad for your
Hey,
presence.
hey.
Thank you for counting me worthy, sir. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thank you for counting me worthy.
Man, I just kind of want to open it up with this topic because especially among I hesitate on because I study so much, but I'm gonna use this term and don't y'all crucify me for it. For black people, okay, African Americans, we don't really talk about aliens and stuff. We'll talk about ghosts, but we don't talk about the UFO stuff. Just want to throw that out there.
Yeah, man. It's I was thinking while you and Neo were talking, it's really it's too uh dog, I can't think of the word I want to even use. But it's too selfish of us, and that's not the word I want to use. But it's too selfish of us and narrow-minded of us to even think that we are the only thing that exists in this vast universe that has not even been explored. You know what I'm saying? It
Mm-hmm.
This universe is too vast. There's something else out there. I mean, no, I didn't mean it as a fact, but I'm saying there could very well be something else out there. In the same way that we go out and we want to explore. I mean, who's to say that these entities are not wanting to do the same thing if they exist? You know, I've
Mm-hmm.
I've definitely experienced some unexplainable things. You know, that
Let's
I may talk about later.
if you don't mind, I want to these experiences again to the people that are just joining us. If you don't mind sharing, it is always good to hear some of this and get your experience. Now, let me also say something to what Neo you mentioned the West. Now, I'm not I'm far from where people are today as far as military, as far as clearance. But I do come to y'all as what they would call a trained observer. I did hold at one time what's called a top secret SCI clearance. I was in a different field of military intelligence. The thing y'all don't see, knocking stuff over. Y'all didn't see this one. This is my military intelligence. And why do I do that? That's probably the only time I do that because I actually have people saying I be faking on here. No, I'm not trying to inflate who I am. I'm just telling y'all what I've done and who I am. So,
Wow.
with that being said, I've been out west. I spent some time on a military installation out west. Not the famous one that y'all all know about, but at a time I'll say this. I went in at a time where they denied that that base existed. And I was a person that was curious. I wanted to know for myself, did it exist? I found out it existed before. Now everybody knows it's real. It's a real place, right? But I said that to kind of set some things up here that there are things we are not going to be told. And I'm not going to say they should. I'm just not going to say that, because when you talk about protecting and defending your country and everything, it's just the nature of the beast, y'all. You don't talk about it, okay? You just don't. Just want to get that out there. But there are things, if I feel like I can legally speak on, I'll speak on, you know. So I just want to put that out there. And I don't know, there may be others of you that in military. I did invite a couple military people on here. I don't know if they'll be able to come, if they care to share that. But hey, I'm kind of free with that. So with that being said, y'all, uh, these experiences are happening by people. Now, on the religious side of things, the reason I bring this up, we talk about eyewitnesses, right? When we giving evidence for why we think Jesus walked on water and why this stuff is true, we'll say things like, okay, we got written testimony, and these were firsthand eyewitnesses to these events. And when we talk about the resurrection, we talk about why else would you have the women, okay, uh, telling this story when they would have been decredited or discredited rather. And so that wouldn't make sense. And that, in a sense, gives more credibility to the story. We've said stuff like that. Well, think about these individuals who say that they have seen craft. It hasn't been, at least till maybe now, popular to even talk about it. They would suffer ridicule, people laugh at them, and even some of the like, you have to go through great lengths. I'm saying all this too, if y'all are interested in some person that has done some great documentaries, you look up the name James Fox, spelled regular spelling, James Fox. He's done some good documentaries on some of this stuff. So before I go too far in anything that I want us to think about, because I really just want to have that podcast type conversation about this, I want to ask, I got Neil on here, I got Bishop on here, and I got Robert from the Thinker's Bible. Anything y'all want to add or share at this point would be greatly invited. It's greatly invited. And any of y'all that are in the chat, same thing. I'm gonna paste the link one more time. Y'all feel free to join up.
Right. I was just gonna say real quick, it that on my show I definitely encourage people who are is somebody mic on? Oh, I thought I heard something. Oh, that I kind of encourage people on my show that I remind them of this. You only believe what you're convinced of, and I know that eyewitness testimony is not the most reliable testimony, but it is a form of evidence. And in testimony, like, you choose to believe it or not based off the evidence that's present. But I know that there's a difference between know it's something that you experience, believe it's something that you just, if you're convinced, you believe it. So I just want people to be a little open mind, listen to some of the stories, listen to what people have to say. Because if somebody was to ask me, Neo, do you believe in ghosts, I probably would correct them like, no, I know that, like, there's some ghost or something in the unseen world because we witnessed it. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like, I think, just don't, before you be quick to dismiss someone as pseudo or crazy, just because you haven't personally experienced something yourself doesn't mean it's not true. We do know that my brain is powerful. Yes, people hallucinate or whatever, but just because they're hallucinating doesn't mean they're not actually seeing what they see. You just cannot see it. So it doesn't mean they're crazy. You just can't see what they see, you know, in their
Mhm.
mind. So, but I don't know. So I'm really interested to hear what you got to say, because I want to hear some of these alien stories. Because when I'm ready to tell my story, I told people I don't see so much shit for me to not to say there is no such thing as supernatural shit. Like, I don't know what to call it, but I just seen some stuff.
Awesome, awesome. Robert, did you want to say anything? Or you're muted, Robert. If you want to, Bishop, did you want to say anything? Robert,
Yeah,
you're on.
not
There you
right
go.
now. Yeah, in a few
Okay,
minutes.
okay, okay. Bishop, you want to say anything? Bishop. Okay. All right. All right. Now, okay. All right. For those of you who are wondering where I'm going with some of this, I'm hesitant to show the video because some of this stuff comes from some very popular people and I don't want to infringe on any rights. I'll try to like maybe show the picture of it and you can go and find the video. I'm gonna do my best to put in layman's terms and talk about what they are saying, the gist of it that will get your wheels turning. So the one that I want to show that it was a couple months ago, I came across this
Hey,
by
Eli, I'm
go ahead,
sorry to
Neil.
cut you. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I've noticed when I put up my fair use disclaimer, that's when I don't get hit with a strike.
But what
Some
if
like
it's
if you
live though? Like
yeah,
even on the
yeah, I do
live?
it live. I noticed that because I've been trying to figure because I did get strike one time, but then I asked somebody else who does this, and if I noticed that they was telling me if you put up that fair use claim, because if you use it as a critique, criticism, it's like scholarship, like if you let them know you're not claiming this as your work and you're not being monetized off of it, they won't strike you. They'll just probably put it as a claim, and the claim is just so they can keep track of how many views are on this content.
So
So
even if what if I wanted to use this video because I'm hoping my videos will be monetized in the future. I don't see that's what I'm
yeah,
saying.
that's what I'm saying. Like when I get a chance, I'm gonna show you like almost a lot of my lives, they don't have copyright claims anymore since I've been using the fair use thing. But the ones that do have copyright claims, I didn't put up the fair use disclaimer.
So I just need like a banner I can
So I don't
flash or
know why
something.
how
Like
that
a
works. Nah, I don't. I stroll it like I stroll it at the bottom, and then I put up in big letters like fair use, and then I explain that I'm using this person's content under fair use. So I don't know how it works, or I don't know if YouTube pick up certain words, or all you have to do is say it or something. But I noticed that I don't get copyright claims when I use the fair use.
okay. Robert, we can hear you. It's a little choppy. I don't know what that robotic choppiness is going on, but we can hear you. It may just be some type of connectivity. I don't know if you got headphones or not, but if you do got headphones, that might be actually a good thing. So the first one, and I hope I can get past with what I'm going to show y'all. The first one, they got me thinking. I'm just going to show you the picture for now, and y'all have to forgive until I get to where I can put up a fair use thing and set that all up.
And I
Let me show y'all
apologize.
this.
I stepped away, but I'm back.
No, you good. I'm just gonna show them. Y'all can see this up here. We still up to. This is physicist Miki Kaku. He was on Joe Rogan, and he was talking about the UFO phenomenon or the UAP, UFO unidentified object. For those who don't know, UAP, unidentified aerial phenomenon, whatever. So he was asked a question about why do we think that this stuff is not just us, it's not another country, it's not the US, it's coming from elsewhere. So I'm trying to put all of this in one place. So the speed of sound is about 767 miles per hour, right? To reach hypersonic, they are using hypersonic drones over there in the Ukraine right now. Hypersonic is anything I think above 5 times the speed of sound. Once you hit 5 times the speed of sound, you're considered hypersonic. Now, to our knowledge, okay, to common knowledge, you don't have anything that's carrying humans, okay, going that fast and doing any maneuvers at that speed. For some of you may know a little bit more about this aircraft than I do because I've forgotten more about it than I know. But there's an aircraft called the SR-71 Blackjet, very fast spy plane that was used a long time ago. But this plane, if I'm not mistaken, its top speed is still classified. So I don't know how fast it went. I can tell you the jet itself was approaching. I want to say they officially stopped saying how fast it went after Mach 3. That's 3 times the speed of sound. I think after that they were like not talking about it. A lot of our jets today go faster than the speed of sound. The F-22 is as I think that's called supersonic. When you're supersonic, faster than the speed of sound, or sonic, or something like that. The F-35, that's also, and they're also stealthy. and there's a few others, but those are some of the more popular models that are out there that we could, that we know about. Omiki Koku was saying that to achieve these speeds with beings on board, and they appear to be intelligently controlled because they react. Okay, one individual was saying they react to the pilots, so it's not like it's just some unmanned thing. It's something conscious controlling these things. The other thing that he was saying is that to reach this level of technology, you're probably at these different types of civilization. I can't remember how he put out the different types, but to produce this type of technology, you're talking way ahead of us. You're not talking 50 years ahead of us. There's a reason why I say 50 years. He says you're talking about maybe 1,000 to 1,000 or more, thousands more years in advancement before we would probably, as humans, achieve something like this. Okay, so putting all that, y'all going, y'all can check out this 15-minute clip. Now, there are some physicists or other individuals in related fields that have challenged this, and some skeptics and say no, it doesn't make sense to say it's out there, or we don't have enough evidence. Rather, we don't have enough evidence to say it's from out there. We don't have enough evidence to even say it's beings on board these certain craft. We can, but we can say something is happening. I think all of us here can agree something has happened. I don't know if the religious people, if y'all disagree, but y'all chime in if you do. But I think it's safe enough to say something else. So this is one of the videos where he's sharing, and basically the conclusion he comes to is that it's not anything on Earth or manufactured by humans that is doing this. That means it's an off Earth craft that came to Earth from somewhere out there. Now, the reason I said 50 years, because going back around 2004, 2003, 2004, when I was doing my military time, um, I came in contact with individuals, and this is all off record. This is nothing I signed to, so I can't say this. But there were some people who seemed to be in the know on this particular installation I was on. And at the time, I was told, take whatever technology was out, whatever we consider cutting edge. Like right now, I think it's AI right now, right? AI is a big thing. But whatever you know to be out here in the public, well known, and the best of the best, top of the cutting edge, he said, whatever that is, your military will be 50 years ahead. And I thought that was astounding. I'm just building. Any one of my guests, y'all can stop me or come in whenever you. And I thought that was, I was like, what, 50? I thought that's a pretty good leap considering how fast technology moves very quickly. And so it got me to thinking, because I play video games. Now, some of y'all gonna laugh at this, but suspend judgment for a minute and just listen to me. If you play games like even Call of Duty, maybe more of the earlier ones like Black Ops 2, if you play a game called Ghost Recon, one of my favorite games, Ghost Recon Wildlands, especially if you play Breakpoint. Why do I bring up video games? If you're not into it, you're not going to get what I'm saying. But if you're into Tom Clancy, you're going to understand exactly what I'm saying. There are things that I can't talk about that are in these games. How did they get there? I don't know. But they're there. They're in these games, y'all. There is subject matter in some of these games that had we listened to the game, we would have known what probably we would be facing out here in the real world. I leave that there to say I lean. People probably y'all probably want to know which way am I going with this. I still think it's us. I still think it's us. I have an open mind, but I still think it's it's us. I don't necessarily think it's from outside the earth. Now here's another possibility. It could be on earth, but maybe there's a civilization here we don't know about. Now, that is highly, highly, highly speculative. I get it. I said we would be sharing some speculations in the description. So I'm looking at the comments. Typo, ETs are in the Bible. Jarvis says ETs are in the Bible. I'm looking at a comment now. Said technology has advanced. Let me put this on the screen. Now, again, I'm giving y'all all this stuff. If you think of something, chime in with it with this challenge because I got some pictures I want to show y'all. If you're not aware, there are, I want to say, 17th and or 16th century paintings of what appears to be UFO activity or UAP activity depicted within the painting. And that is a long time ago. Okay, so that's another argument against it being us. People are saying, well, people were seeing this stuff very long ago. Let me read the comment on the screen. Technology has advanced to the point that we excel in knowledge on a monthly scale, just as Daniel the prophet said, knowledge shall increase. Well, I would hope that knowledge would increase for anybody. I don't necessarily think
Right.
that Daniel was right just because he said that. I mean, knowledge increased. Period. When people went to school, they had
Yeah.
schools in that day, but that does bring up another point, Mr. Hawkins. Um, in relation to this topic, a preacher friend of mine, we were talking about the Library of Alexandria, and rest in power to a guest I had on the show, um, Dr. Michael Thomas. um, he had the privilege of visiting the Vatican, and so when I told him this, he told me that makes sense because he saw some stuff, okay, in his time, and I have to take his word for it. He saw some stuff from the library. Now, granted, everything from the Library of Alexandria wasn't burnt. They might have salvaged a few copies, but just go with me for a minute. It is said that the knowledge contained in the Library of Alexandria, if it hadn't been lost and burned, or what hadn't been lost, if that knowledge had been retained, it would have put us 1,000 years ahead of where we are now. This is, I don't know how they come up with these years. I don't know how they come up with the computations. I just I don't know. But I do know some smart people have gotten in there and looked at it. And when I looked at this years ago, that's the estimation. If we would have had the knowledge from the Library of Alexandria and it would have not been lost, we would be 1,000 years ahead. Now, my friend who was a preacher, and I was talking about this being lost, and he just says to me, he just said, "What make you think that they burned it all, or that they burnt any of it?"
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, so when you think about that, um even militaries, they seem to have done this. I don't I know in the past there was a lot of, oh, we're going to destroy your monuments, we'll destroy your religion and things like that, but my understanding of history, the militaries understood how important it was when they invaded to get the knowledge of the people, to get whatever that was. Even if they couldn't read the books, they seized the books. Okay, they might have burnt some other stuff. So I'm saying that to say I think it's quite possible that whatever knowledge was there in Alexandria was not necessarily lost. And perhaps there could be a few people, okay, with access that are 1,000 years ahead of where we are now. I'm just saying, consider that. Consider that. All right, all right.
You know,
Go
I
ahead,
heard
Bishop.
what. Oh, I was just going to say, I remember the interview with Dr. Thomas, and he's not the only one that I've heard talk about that, but I think it's highly likely that a lot of the world's secrets are probably, um, as far as writings and information and historical documents are, retained there in that hidden part of the Vatican. Um, and it just makes sense when people talk about it, as you did, when people are able to say, seemingly, in a substantial way, in a substantiated way, seemingly that, hey, if we had this, then we'd be 1,000 years ahead. Well, it really seems like someone knows something we don't know, and whether intently or not, they're giving us hints that they know some things that we don't know, whether they're doing it on purpose or not. Um, but I believe probably with organizations and institutions like the Vatican, and also like the military itself, you know, um, they're probably feeling like, and of course, this is all assumption, of course, that they're probably feeling like they're protecting the world by not giving us access to this information, because if we had access to this information, what would we do with it, if it got in the wrong hands? I feel like this is a movie role, I mean, a movie plot here, but but I
No, it's
believe that's
good.
possibly the case.
Yo,
I
let
believe
me
that's possibly the
mute
case.
myself.
It's good. I got yeah, we bringing another guest in. I got Mo Whitney. Mo, introduce yourself, let the people know, and we're gonna keep flowing after that. But if you got something you want to share, you got the flow though, brother.
Oh, okay. Nah, I'm a hyper skeptic, I guess you can say. So it's not that I don't believe in aliens. I don't think we have enough evidence. Just because we don't know what it is doesn't mean it's aliens. Um, it could be even demons, and I used to get things called I used to get this thing that my son's mom's called spirits on your back,
Sleep
and I would,
paralysis.
yes. I later found out, like, a decade or so later, that it was just my body paralyzing itself so I wouldn't flail around when I sleep. But you couldn't tell me that, but I had no idea. And people had me thinking it was demons, and people still, like, I got somebody close to me who believes it's demons, and you can't you can't convince them that's not what it is. And I try to explain it, and it's like, well, I have hallucinations with it. Well, you can have hallucinations with sleep paralysis. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't really believe in stuff in that stuff until we have like real solid evidence. And you can't. There's no way to test the supernatural, as they call it. So like, how did there's I just don't know how you can prove supernatural.
Well, I see. I think I see what you're saying too, Mo. But what if it seems that we have more anecdotal evidence, even though you can call it anecdotal, but we seem to have more of that for it not being something non-physical or some demon like. One of the films that is out now that is really good is, I don't know if y'all ever heard of Brazil's Roswell. You probably heard of Roswell, New Mexico, but have you heard of
Yeah,
Brazil's Roswell?
yeah, and I think I read it on Wikipedia, which, you can't always believe Wikipedia, but it was basically it may not have been Wikipedia, but it was basically debunking it. Like, there's stories that people aren't circulating, that basically the people, and that there were the investigation showed that that's not what it was. Nothing. It was like some kind of animal that they saw, or it was a homeless man that they saw and thought he looked weird. Everything was explained away naturally. And for me, it's like I'd rather go with the natural. Everything else has been proven natural. Lightning has been proven natural. when before lightning was Zeus throwing, being angry, rain. People were sacrificed over things like this in the past, just to make it rain. Hey, let's kill a baby to make it rain or whatever. And
Hmm.
I think we should let go of all these superstitions and just take a step back when we see things like this and just wait until we figure out the answer instead of just applying God or applying demons or applying some supernatural thing to it when the truth is we just don't know what it is.
Okay. Okay. But so Mo, are people seeing something?
I'm not, yeah, I'm not disputing people may have saw something. They could have saw something. It could be aliens. It could be demons. It really could be. It could also be a figment of their imagination. We just don't know. It could be a list of things, but speculating is not the smart thing to do unless you can speculate and then investigate and eliminate what you think that might be.
So,
But we
and
we
before,
just can't. Hmm.
go ahead, go ahead. I'm gonna get the other guests in here, but I want to interact with you just a little bit more. Go ahead.
Yeah, you just we can't. How do you prove it was a ghost? How do
How
you
do you prove it
prove
was
it
a
was
what? It kind of
aliens?
went out. Oh, okay. How
How
do
do
you
you
prove it
prove
was
it was a
aliens?
ghost? How do you prove it was aliens? How do you prove it was demons? Unless you can figure out some kind of test to prove it, then it for me it's all useless. It's just like, hey, something happened. Something like my house creaks, and I certain things in my house used to scare me. Now I just go downstairs. Like, well, it's either a human being in here or it's nothing. I just heard something. And if it's a demon or an alien, there's nothing I can do about that. There's absolutely, and I can't even prove it. So let me go down here and see if there's an intruder in my house.
I
That's just
feel
how I
you.
look at things.
So one of the things that is claimed when I talk to my religious viewers, and I'm glad I still got Robert. He may be still listening. Is the amount of people that supposedly, by the biblical account, saw Jesus? He saw 500 brethren. He was seen by his believers, the women at the tomb. Blah 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 blah. All these people. I bring up Brazil's Roswell because at the time, I think it was in 1997. I got the article here that, but there was supposed to be thousands of people that saw this same thing, same day, or 2 different days. They did that. These craft appeared. One was said to be the original crash. Another one, they think it might have been a search party for the original crash. It was because it was a second craft that came. But on both of these days, you can find thousands in the city of Virginia, Brazil, that claim to have seen this stuff. And that's one of the things that our Bible believers will tell us. You ain't gonna get thousands of people seeing the same thing at the same time. Some people will say that. Now, I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, we got the reports of the exotic materials that they find. You got the reports of the military coming in real quick. Hey, y'all get out of here. This didn't happen. And I'm not just like this stuff doesn't come from one source. And now, like Omiki Koku said, you don't just have some guy, in the South named Bubba talking about, yeah, I saw a light up there. You don't have that. You got top level people, real credible people, uh, people that study this kind of phenomenon saying we ain't got nothing like this, and that's a physical thing. It's there, and they may not be saying most that it's aliens, but it's something doing that. Now, some people go further to say that these objects are being controlled, which means there's an intelligence behind it. But I'm just speculating right now on how we feel about the evidence we've been presented with. That we have access to in the public. And even though I still have things I'm not supposed to talk about for like another 80 years, I'm not convinced it's off Earth, but it's getting pretty darn close to being that way.
Okay. Um, is that request for a
You
comment?
can come in. No, y'all come in. We just having a conversation today. I told him, Robert, this is probably going to be a speculative talk. It's not my usual norm, but I wanted to change it up a bit. And this is a topic that has been ruminating for me. And this is what I've been doing all weekend, is looking into this stuff.
Okay. So just in general, from my perspective, a lot of this would just be really from my perspective, is that I used to be a very avid believer in UFOs. Right, this is before I became a Christian. I really believed in all of this. In fact, I was an occult practitioner for a while, and before becoming a Christian. Overall, I think from what I've heard, I wasn't able to to be here the past few minutes, but I think that the two comments that I heard at the beginning, one was from Neo X and one was from Jamal. I think that those are both very reasonable approaches, meaning that in Neo X's in particular, you can't just write these off that there's something somewhere doing something, right? Now, the question is what it is. And it's something that people are seeing. And I think then, and then from Jamal's perspective, he's saying that, that it's almost, and this is something, he said something basically that Neil deGrasse Tyson had said in the past, which is, it's selfish. It's almost selfish. And I like Jamal's approach to it much better than Tyson's. He said that it's somewhat selfish, or maybe selfish, to say that, there's this big, vast universe of things, and then we're the only ones here. I like that approach better than Tyson's, because Tyson said that it was arrogant, and that's really an arrogant way to look at it. So,
Thank you.
Yeah. So I think that I honestly I think these two, the sister and this brother, really had reasonable approaches to their to especially from their perspectives. So, from a biblical perspective, what I can discern from the Bible is that I really don't necessarily believe. I do obviously believe in angels and demons and supernatural beings. Uh, I don't personally believe that there are aliens in the sense of like ET or Star Wars, Star Trek type other planet people like us. One of the reasons is that it really has to do with the Bible's uh, importance of people, right? So how important humankind is, or mankind, or whatever, is in God's eyes, meaning that God is man is created, man and woman uh, are created in the image of God, right? And God is supreme. He is absolutely transcendent on any level, and he is great, right? So he is great enough and powerful enough, almighty enough, that even his image, which is us, and we're corrupted, after from sin after the fall, but his image, he's so great that his image uh, is worthy of a universe to support us, right? Because what we live in is an ever-growing, is a very complex system that we're learning more and more about, with each passing day. But we need there's a myriad of factors that support human life just in our isolated globe that we live on. Then there's a solar system required, a sun and a solar system, required to support that. And that lives in an infrastructure of a galaxy, which lives in an infrastructure of all kinds of different um, clusters of galaxies and universe, that make up the known universe, right? And that all of that infrastructure is required to support life on Earth. And so that is, God is great enough that our being image, our being created in his image makes us important enough that this entire universe could be created just for us. And that doesn't, I mean, if ET popped up tomorrow, okay, fine, that would be sort of a counter example, obviously. But it really, you know, people are so important that we are important enough, and that doesn't mean that we're great, and in the way, the egotistical way that we think of ourselves many times. But it's just from God's perspective, that's how important we really are to Him. So there is no incident in the Bible about extraterrestrial life. I personally believe that the Bible contains everything that we'll ever need to know to deal with anything, any type of thing that we will encounter in life. And that's why I feel personally that there are no aliens out there, for those two reasons. Now, if I am proven wrong, then I'm proven wrong. But that's my perspective on it. And in terms of some of the things that have happened, there are some incidents, like you said, where there were, multiple people, but most of the incidents that I've used to read about were the type that Neil, X had experienced in her vocation, and treks. And I don't believe, and this is being out in the desert somewhere in West Texas or somewhere, and then all of a sudden you see something. I don't think it's an accident that most of these encounters or allegations, encounters, and sightings and stuff have been in these isolated areas. You don't see a whole lot of these, with very rare exception. You don't like have, if you watched the Will Smith movie, right, about the aliens coming, and then this big spaceship comes and, Judgment Day, right? Or
Hmm.
and it comes and stands over this big tower in LA and everybody's looking up at it. I don't think it's an
You
accident
talking
of
about
choice.
Independence? No.
Independence Day, right. That was a cool movie, right? So, but I think that it's significant
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you don't see that, right? You typically see these things out in some isolated place, or somebody claims to be abducted out at night somewhere by themselves and experimented on and blood drawn and all of this sort of stuff. And the Area 51, the area you can't talk about, is in New Mexico. It's not in East St. Louis or East Oakland or South side of Chicago or Manhattan somewhere, right? Or Tokyo. I don't think those things are coincidence. All right. Another thing too is that regarding some of these sightings and these allegations, or these assertions by acclaimed scientists, and speculations by acclaimed scientists.
It's not in New
Actually,
Mexico. That's a small detail, but I feel like somebody's going to try to say something about it.
no,
But
no, no
go
problem.
ahead.
Yeah, yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah. No, I don't know where that thousand sighting out in Brazil somewhere. I'm just saying that in general, these things do tend to be alleged to have happened out in these distant areas, right? And I'm not saying so so
Right.
there's another aspect to it too, that really what's happening is the pattern I've seen over many years is that aliens, and this is a historic thread, right? Aliens are like the new atheist pantheon, right? So there's a if you look at ancient religions, like Western society came from like the Greek influences and stuff like that. There were non-theistic philosophies back in Bible days, in pre New Testament days, and they always had some kind of conception of something out there. And what you have is, in Roman paganism, you've got the Roman pantheon. In Greek paganism, you've got the Greek pantheon. And in atheist paganism, you've got this new atheist pantheon that is these beings and stuff. And now they're trying, a lot of scientists have given up trying to find any hope of carbon-based life forms, because regardless of these attestments by these people, universities and elsewhere, every time they've tried to find something somewhere, they failed. So back in the 40s and 50s, it was Venus. They thought Venus would be this jungle of paradise and all these aliens sitting around and all of that stuff. Venus is 900 degrees
Yeah,
around the
yeah.
clock. It has sulfuric gases and stuff like that. There's no hope of life there. Then in the 60s, 70s, 80s and stuff, there was Mars, right? Mars was the new, possibility of, like the Martians and Ray Bradbury and all of that stuff. Well, they get to Mars, and guess what? No life there either, right? There's no, they try to find traces of life, but there isn't. The moon used to be another one. Maybe there were civilizations on the moon. So far, they have a
So far.
100%. They have a 100% failure rate in speculating where life might exist and if there are other planets that have the conditions for life, right? They failed every single time. So now what they're doing is they're speculating about, like this planet or that one, planets that we'll never see, never get to, that are many, many light years away. And they're looking at these more terrestrial or earthbound sorts of experiences to try to support this theology of theirs or this speculation of theirs, right? So
Right. Okay.
that's okay. Now, one final thing is that uh, some of this has actually been prophesied in the Bible. Okay, Jesus Christ said a couple of things. He said that during the end times, there would be signs in the skies, men's hearts failing them for fear. And there are things that are going to be even more spectacular than that are coming. So one of the things he said is that these miracles would happen, these false teachers or whatever, and miracles would happen that were false miracles that would be so compelling and so convincing that if possible they would deceive the very elect, right? And you're probably aware that that's in Luke and
Mhm.
Matthew, right?
Yeah, I was coming
And
to that.
yeah, and then also in the end times when the Antichrist, the beast appears, and as a matter, he'll have a false prophet that is able to call signs that call fire out of the sky and perform amazing miracles that will have people worshiping the Antichrist, right? And the beast that gives power, the dragon that gives power to the beast, who of course is Satan. So there's a combination of things, with a question mark, right? So some of these things are what Neo X had said, is that people, seeing things that either, can be explained to them and they experience something, and it's real to them, right? Other things are going to be, some of these things will be uh, things that people, and after many years, I've seen this many, many, many times, is that scientists will look at this phenomena or that one, and then later on they'll find out, no, that wasn't a UFO, that was a blah, right? And I'm sure in your research you've seen plenty of incidents of that as well, right? So there's a lot of that.
There's instances where they say it's a thing, and they are not consistent with what people experienced and saw. Also,
Yeah, another thing is that they believe it's a thing, but they turn out and it's explained some other way than some extraterrestrial way, right? I've seen a lot of those incidents as well, right? So those, and then there's this question mark, right? There's always a possibility that my opinion on this is wrong, right? I'm not going to say that's impossible, but but from what I see of these other things that I've shared, I don't believe those that there is extraterrestrial life. I won't pretend to be able to explain what those things, what those things are. I don't know. I wasn't there, but another thing too, and I'd say this final just point with what you're saying about in terms of eyewitness accounts. Eyewitness accounts, as I think Neil X had pointed out, aren't always reliable. And one of the things that in the Bible, uh, um, there's actually three things, right? One is eyewitness
go
accounts.
ahead. Yeah, I'm gonna get them
Uh,
in, Robert. You go ahead. I'm gonna
another
give you like
is
160 more seconds.
and another thing is one is eyewitness accounts. Another one is physical evidence. And I presented some of that on your show about where skeptics have said these people didn't exist, and there's at least 53 people that they have proven exist that skeptics used to say didn't. There's the pool of Siloam and all these archaeological artifacts that actually are physically there that you can actually go visit. And the third is prophecy, right, which is fulfilled prophecy, and that's a whole show of its own. But a whole topic of its own, not show, I'm sorry, but it's a whole topic of its own. But there are, so those are the three threads of evidence that are supported in the Bible. And, so you can either weigh them and to believe them or not.
Can I
I
break?
think Bishop want to say something. Yeah, go
Yes,
ahead, Bishop.
thank you. Yeah, it was a lot that Robert shared that led me so many different places. I'm going to try to remember all of his points and try to touch briefly on as many as I can remember because they were very interesting points. First of all, I want to say, and I've watched Robert, unlike some other guests that I've interacted with, seemingly he has always been very, you know, respectful, open-minded even. So I really appreciate that about him, and I appreciate his perspective that he just shared. I will say a couple of things about some of the things that he shared. And I know you kind of said we weren't going to go to this, but I do want to touch on it because he did about, you know, prophecy and all those types of things. um you know, the signs in the skies and everything he named. The- one thing about that is these are things that have always been happening. You know, technology increasing in wisdom, these are things that have been happening since the beginning of time. You know, signs in the sky since the beginning of time. How did according to the scriptures, how did the men normally called the wise men, how did they find Jesus? By a sign in the sky. You know, there's many, you know, there's so many signs in the sky. We could go to um Ezekiel and all of, you know, I don't want to get into all of that, but these are things that have always been happening. They're not necessarily a fulfillment of prophecy. I do not think they are a fulfillment of any prophecy, because mostly every single thing that the Bible talks about that are signs of the end times are things that have always been happening since the beginning of time, and they're going to continue to happen. There's always been people performing that were said to have performed miracles. All of those things. But anyway, so I want to touch on that. Gosh, I hope I can remember everything. Um, just in case I don't remember everything, one of the main, oh, no, he talked about the witnesses. You know, how one of the things the Bible has, and he named some other things. And honestly, I was focusing on my children, so I probably missed part of what he said. But I know he did talk about one of the things that the Bible has going for it. Those are my words. Is that you have the eyewitness accounts, blah blah blah. And he named some other things. Well, back to the alien sightings and uh, the possible existence of extraterrestrial life. Um, I thought about that thing. There has been more modern day, anyway. There's been more um, testimonials of people seeing aliens. I mean, actually see. I know several people that have supposedly have encountered alien life forms, more than that have said they've seen Jesus or angels. You know that. So 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 if we want, I'm just saying, if we want to look at eyewitness accounts as proofs of something existing, that means for me, um, aliens are more probable to exist than Jesus. I'm just being, you know, just using the same standard. Okay. But the main thing I wanted to touch on was the scriptures. Robert had said, and someone else may have mentioned this too, that, you know, looking at the scriptures, comparing those, I don't think the scripture shows any proof of alien life. And based on the scriptures, I don't think aliens exist, blah, blah, blah. I totally, and we probably need to have a whole show on this, so I'm not going to get into it too deeply, but I totally disagree. I want you to, if you want to look at a good place to start on this subject, there's a couple. I think you named one already, but if you would study Paul Willis, a lot of, is it, no, Paul Wallace, yeah, Paul Wallace, a lot of his
Oh,
material. Oh my, have you studied his material, Eli?
is that the guy that does the fifth kind?
Yes, that's Paul Wallace. Yeah, I
I
have
thought I
his.
recognized the name. Yeah.
Yes, I have his books. I have two of his books. One is Escape from Eden, and the other one is anyway, I got his two books about Eden. And basically his perspective, based on research, and he's a theologian as well. He's not just you know, a researcher, a researcher of history, but he is a theologian. He is a ordained minister. Of course, you know, he's not fundamental in any way, but I'm thinking he still calls himself a minister. He trained um, other ministers,
Right.
but
He has a background in it, but he
yeah,
has a different interpretation altogether.
he does, and
Very, very different.
very much so. One of the things he and this other guy, I can't remember his name, but they studied. the etymology of a lot of these words, such as the Elohim.
Mhm.
And when he traces the Elohim back, it traces, and this is what I'm getting to about the scripture, it traces back to the Sumerian writings. And he talks about how this word Elohim, the etymology of that word, where it comes from, its root, it actually comes from, it was first seen in the Sumerian writings. Yeah, you need to read that book, whoever that is. I can't see the name. My eyes are not that great. You need that book, I'm telling you. But he studies these Sumerian writings, and I'm going to give you the short version of it because I could talk about this forever. But basically, it's the powerful ones. That's what the word kind of breaks down to at its root, the powerful ones. Okay, and it talks about how these Sumerian writings, these people, that these writings that were written, it's about their contact with these powerful ones that came from the sky. And he goes back to, man, it's just so much to talk about, man. He goes back to the scriptures, and he has this perspective that it's possible that even these ancient writings, okay, in the Bible, in our Bible, is about these people's contact with these people that came from the sky. And if you take that perspective and you go start reading some of that stuff with that perspective, it makes a hell of a lot of sense. I mean, a lot of
And you
sense.
said people plural, not
Say
mono,
that,
plural.
say that again.
I said
Say that
not
again.
mono, not
Who's
mono,
let me
not
see
one
who's
God,
talking. That's Mo.
plural.
Okay,
That's
that's
Mo.
Mo.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
You
That's
said
all right.
not you said the people from the sky, not the person from the sky, not
Oh yeah, yeah,
mono,
yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
plural.
plural.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Because
Exactly.
a lot of it was
Which
plural. Even in the Bible it was
exactly.
plural before they
Which
figured out we just gonna
the
go
word
mono.
Elohim, exactly, the word Elohim is a plural word. Uh it means the powerful ones, not Elohim
Yeah.
was not a name for, it was not God, it was the gods, you see. But that's
Yeah,
all I'll say for
I
now.
was I was just
yeah,
I
cause
was
after
just inboxing Eli about something similar to
One
that.
second,
But
Robert.
not
One second. I think Robert. I think that's Robert's
mm.
mic. Robert, see if you can fix that. Because they, I don't know. I don't think it's mine. Some of the chat was saying there's some crackling going on. See if you can fix that. But go ahead, Mo. I'm sorry to interrupt. And then after, well, actually, Neo got something here. I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead,
Neo
yeah.
has, she sent me something, and I want to share that. I want to.
Oh, you
I'm
could have let him. You could have let him finish, and I was gonna talk. Let Mo. Mo was just talking.
No,
okay. Oh well. Okay.
what I was talking about had nothing to do with the UFO subject, but what I forgot your name, brother. But what he was talking about as far as the Elohim name and the Yahweh
Yes.
name, all of that, I was talking to but it had nothing to do with UFOs. It was just the naming and how Yahweh even became, and it was the contradiction in the Bible. That's a problem. Yeah, but that was it. It was nothing on the
All
UFO
right.
thing.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
All right.
Neo, you got the flow.
All right, cool. Family, for those who's watching from my channel, I am not on my page. I am streaming this show from on Voice of Eli. I put his link in my subscription box. I mean the chat box. So make sure y'all check him out. Come over here and subscribe to him. I finally figured out a way to dual share. We figured it out, so it works. Eli, you're streaming and over there. So,
I
but
see it. I can see it. It comes up with your stuff in the background too. I can
right,
see it.
cool. So for those in the chat in your channel, I'm not talking to myself. I'm talking to people. Y'all can't see my people's comments. So, but everyone can see my comments. So this show has been streamed on 2 pages. But okay, so I wanted to go back and talk about the alien thing. When what's his name? Robert Ash. I want to make sure I'm saying his name right.
Yeah,
It's Robert
that's
Ash.
Robert.
All right. So from my understanding, Robert Ash is a man of faith, like a Christian, right?
He's a Christian and he's an apologist. He claims to
Okay.
be a Christian apologist. Yes.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right. So when I was listening to him talk, it reminded me when just like Bishop brought up the prophecies, right? How believers claim that prophecies are fulfilling itself, and whatever, whatever. And one of the ones I like to challenge them on is I hear Christians talk about the locust and the famine that happens in Africa, and that was a prophecy that fulfilled itself because the locust came and ate up everything, right? And I showed them in the Bible that the locusts that's described in the Bible are a supernatural looking entity. They're not what the bugs. They don't look like grasshoppers. These locusts, they have blonde hair, they have swords in their hand, and their teeth are sharp. But the Bible calls them locusts. If we was to see anything like that, we would deem that to be supernatural, like it comes from another world, because locusts don't look nothing like that. They don't have human heads with blonde hair, but the Bible called them locusts. So I'm sharing this video because I just wanted to show y'all how the human imagination works. I Googled just angels in the Bible. And if you believe in the book of Revelation, it gives you a description of what what angels or so-called angels like look like. And if anything like this was to come and visit us on earth, like we would say it was supernatural. It's just like, look at this. Like if like I'm just clicking on, well, I thought I could blow that up, but it didn't. I was trying to figure out how to blow it up, but let me see if I can do it. Like if we was to see something like that was to come to us, we would be questioning it. And just like when he said something about, the Bible says that we're going to be deceived by these, angels or spirits and stuff like that. Like, come on, like if something like this was to enter the earth, how would you respond to that? Like, I feel like the story in the Bible, when they talk about these, like I'm just strolling so y'all can just see like how we draw these images, how we have these images come from our imagination, even though no one witnessed, from my understanding, nobody actually witnessed and seen these things. But we put it in our art, we put it in our literature, and it's like we have a sense that there's things that's unearthly, like things we can never find here. Like if something like that was to visit you, that looked like a character in the video game, like Eli said, like the angels and stuff like that. So I'm just curious, like when he says you can stop sharing, I'm just trying to show y'all that if you do a simple Google search in the Bible, we have an imagination of supernatural beings, and we get the ideal from the Bible descriptions, if that makes sense of what I'm saying. So how would we like take a prophecy of locusts saying that, oh, locusts came and ate up the famine, but then the Bible described locusts as these supernatural looking creatures?
I
Like
want to
they
maybe give Robert, when you get it done, Neil, a chance to respond. But I'm sure one thing that came to my mind, Robert, you may be thinking about this. There are instances in the Bible where they mistook these angels for humans. Now that's one way to look at it. But then we also have anecdotal evidence, if you will, of people seeing beings today that look like us anatomically, but they're often described as the Nordics. They're usually like a blonde hair, blue eyed, and they and yeah, they are. They're blonde hair, blue eyed, but they be like 10 feet tall and very muscular. I'm just saying. I'm just saying this is what they say. Again, y'all, this is a speculative show, but I think we need to have the conversation. So
yeah,
just putting
yeah.
that out there. Just putting
No,
that
no,
out
you good, because that's what the Bible described. And not the Bible because it's not in, but the Enoch, the book of Enoch. That's
there.
how they describe the angelic beings, like like albino looking creatures with blonde hair. But I think that kind of like shows us a little bit more that maybe this was written by men and it's coming more from their imagination, because that's what a white man looked like. So, and
Right.
they already have some kind of, some of them, not all, but they have this white supremacy god-like complex. They made
But that
Jesus.
but that ain't the only ones they say. They said, did y'all see the video? I hate this, is so intriguing to me. There was a video. I need to go find it. I'm gonna have it this week. This guy was giving an interview. He claimed to be some kind of scientist. He's probably dead now. He was an older guy, but he was talking about what he saw. And his extraterrestrials he saw, he said they were black. And the lady meant like dark skin. He said, no, not like dark, like black. He meant they were black, and he said they were like 9 feet tall. This was an older white guy saying this.
Yeah. So like I'm saying, like all I know is when I talk about stuff like this, like I told people, I can't give people the answers. Like I don't know everything, but I just tell them to pay attention to what we do as human beings. We have an imagination. Our imagination comes from our conscious state. Like we draw these images come in our minds and they come out. And just like when Mo brought up the sleep paralysis thing, I remember when I used to suffer from sleep paralysis real bad, but I was taught, like he was taught, that it was demons attacking me. So when it used to happen to me, I used to scream out Jesus, because that's what I was taught, to say Jesus to get the spirits off of me. But now that I don't follow the faith anymore, it happened to me a few times recently, and just to test it, one time I just didn't say anything. I just laid there because I was like, I know what's going on. My body woke up before my mind did. You get what I'm saying? So I mean, my mind woke up before my body did. No, it's the other way around. And when they say you hallucinate, you see things, I tell people to open their minds. When you dream, your dreams, like there's a study saying that you cannot read in your dreams. I can read in my dreams. I read stuff all the time in my dreams. Like depending on that person's mind, you can see a detailed world, an unseen world that no one else can see. But they will say they will call someone who's hallucinating, they'll say they're schizophrenic or what they're seeing is not real. But when you lay down at night, you see images in your consciousness, but you sleep. You are visiting an unseen world. Now, why we dream, scientists are still trying to figure that out. But I just wanted to bring that part up when he was talking about that the Bible, suggests that we're going to be tricked by some supernatural alien-like creatures or something like that. But like I say, even the descriptions of angels in the Bible, not the ones that's messengers, but these ones that's supposed to be passing judgment and wrath, they look like stuff unearthly. They if somebody was to draw a picture of it, you would say that looks like an alien. Nothing on earth looked like these images, that the Bible described. And then for I made a note. The Bible said we perish from a lack of knowledge. I just find that kind of weird that how the Bible kind of mentions that. But then in the beginning of the story, the reason why mankind is in the state that it's in is because the female and the male decided to eat a tree to gain knowledge. So I was always curious about that because the name of the tree was called the knowledge of good and evil. But once Adam and Eve ate the fruit, they then became like God or like gods, and then they were punished for it. So it's just one of those things, like in the Bible, I try to understand. I'm trying to get what was the author tried to articulate. I don't think we should take this stuff literal. There's things in the Bible that we know are scientifically incorrect, like the Tower of Babel. We know it's impossible for a person or people to build a tower to God in the heavens, because we know once you reach a certain altitude, we cannot even breathe. Like we're not designed to withstand life outside once we hit a certain height. So it was impossible. So what was the point of a God or angels being upset with men because they were one in, well, I think the Bible said they was one in thinking, the way they were thinking, they was unified, but then they got punished for it. Like it's kind of weird. You kind of got to like dissect the Bible. Like, okay, this God don't want us to be unified. This God want to separate his favorites. He want to have his chosen ones. He don't want us to have knowledge. He wanted us to be some kind of dumb creature, like animal-like creatures, that he didn't want us to have consciousness. Like, what is it? So I think that I'm gonna land my plane there because I've been making notes and I don't want to hog it up too much. But that's the thing that if I was to have a conversation with Robert Ash, I would just question him on that. Like, I understand that you're a man of faith and you believe the Bible, but if you study any other religion outside the Bible, you kind of see they all function the same. And they do have their godlike entities, and they do have imaginations of how they describe the earth came into existence. Like, for instance, the Aboriginals in Australia, they said it was a dragon-like serpent that spoke the sun, coughed up the sun, and then the sun came. And then in Kemet, they said it was a state of void, darkness. So the Bible says it was a state of void, darkness. Some folk, African religions, they say that everything started off in a state of void, darkness. Where are these people getting this information from? Why are the ancient paintings on the wall, like Eli brought up, why are these people at that time drawing images of things in the sky flying around? It's just one of those things.
I'm gonna share, since you said that, I'm gonna go ahead and share what I had
Yeah, like what
So
was in their imagination at that time where they drew those images. Like, it's just one of those things. I think we shouldn't really just dismiss it. Just, I mean, I understand Mo being a critical thinker and being a very skeptic, because I'm skeptic in certain things. That's why I don't follow the Christian faith. But there are some things I just feel like we just cannot dismiss. And studying our consciousness and studying human behavior, we'll probably eventually get to the answers and dismiss all these gods. Like Mo said, they dismiss Thor and
Yeah,
Zeus throwing out lightning because of our technology advancing, right? So eventually, I feel like once science can prove that hell doesn't exist, people will reject the Christian faith because they won't have nothing to fear anymore. Because people,
that
I feel
mhm.
like most people are subscribed to the Christian faith is because of death anxiety. They're afraid of what's going to happen to them when they die because they have a book in the Bible saying that they are, if they don't accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior, they're gonna burn for eternity. So I'm gonna pass the mic, but let me know when you're ready to do the testimony because I wanted to give a story
Yeah,
about
yeah,
my
no, I
supernatural
want y'all
faith.
to do. I want the testimonies right after this. I just want to share with those because we got everybody in here. Everybody got all these different. This is what I wanted, all the different perspectives. But for those, like I still lean towards some of this technology things that we have our hands on. But one of the things that kind of negates some of my position is what I'm presenting to y'all now. Here's a depiction of the crucifixion. It is a religious painting, but if you pay attention, I'm gonna go to the actual window, and I can't see y'all when I go to the window, but I'm gonna hover my mouse in case you don't see it already. Where the issue is, I'm gonna hover my mouse, and maybe y'all can see it right up here in this corner. I guess y'all can see. Can y'all see that? My mouse circling, and right over here, and inside. Let me see if I can zoom in. Okay, if you were able to zoom in, you would see that's a person depicted in what looks to be some type of craft, and something similar over here, but this one looks a little bit more modern. But this is supposedly a depiction of the crucifixion. This comes from the 14th century, 1350, y'all. So that's pretty long ago. But now keep in mind what I said about the Library of Alexandria and us being possibly 1,000 years behind where the knowledge contained in that library would have put us. Here's another painting. Just going to show y'all these real quickly. This is 15th century here. So maybe the next century, you have a picture of Jesus, Mary. They're on the cloud, but you got to take a look at all these little things. Now you can say these are clouds, but those little things right there don't quite look like clouds to me, especially this one I'm trying to circle for y'all if y'all can see my mouse. And this painting is also compelling. The Madonna with Saint, I believe it's pronounced Giovannino, and this is a late 1400s picture. And the paint in this painting, they zoomed in on the craft, and there's a man with his hand kind of like blocking something. He appears to be looking up at the craft. Now there are a couple of more, but I want to get to some of this testimony. I bring these up for the consideration of those who may not have known about this, and that some of these sightings seem to have been a thing hundreds of years ago, rather than we're not just talking about since Roswell. We're talking about yeah, long time ago type stuff. And right down, I even have some cave paintings what seems to be depicting some alien craft. Are y'all seeing the whole screen now? My
Yeah,
computer needs to.
I was gonna say that longer than that. Absolutely.
Yeah, so we are in Neil, I don't know if you want to kick us off with the testimony part, but we are at 8:30, and I want to thank y'all for coming. I honestly didn't think I would get this kind of response on this topic. I just knew I wanted to talk about it, but I'm gonna be on this one all week, y'all.
Can I ask
Cool.
something real quick? Because I want to be
Yes,
fair.
sir.
Can I ask something real quick? I want to be fair because I think Robert was trying to respond to us earlier,
Oh,
and I wanted to give him that opportunity if we can, if you're okay with that,
yeah, Robert,
or is
if
that
you
going to
can
take us
hear
too
us.
far off?
No, we good. That
Okay.
respect, and that's one of the things I want to thank y'all for on the show last week while we waiting on Robert to unmute. The guests I had on did say that things were very respectful. And as I've said before on my show, y'all, it's hard for me to get Christians on here. It's very difficult, especially a preacher. So shout out to Ken Olison for coming in, defending what at least what he believes. And we hope to have him back. And if you know anybody that is able to come on and stand 10 toes down on what it is they believe, we want to have that discussion with them. But we're still waiting for Robert. He may have stepped away, but
Gotcha.
I'll maybe check back in with him later.
Well,
So I still got Mo on here and Neo. Y'all got it. What's up?
all right, but well, while we waiting for him to come back, can you click on Richie Garfield's comment right here? Because I'm
Let
finna
me
show
see.
you
Let me
that
see.
it's
The
it's
sender, where he says the center
the
of the
center.
earth.
Yeah, you click on that.
Okay, yeah, I didn't see
All
that.
right,
Thanks for catching that.
All right, so he made that comment when I was talking about once science disprove that hell doesn't exist, people are going to walk away from the Christian faith because people believe in the Christian faith because of death anxiety. That's why most religions, I think, exist in the first place. People trying to comprehend an afterlife because no one knows what happens when we die. So he said the center of the earth is hot. Science can't disprove that there is a hot place at the center of the earth. Richie, the reason why you know that the earth is hot and the earth core is made of lava is because science proved that it was hot down there. But they didn't hear, there is no images of people burning, angels tossing people into the center of the earth, the core. We know that volcanoes exist, so we see the functionality of why the earth's core would have to be hot. You need all these elements of earth, wind, fire, oxygen, atmosphere, everything that makes the earth what it is naturally to exist. You know, the hottest place in the world is the sun. I mean, in the universe, far as we know, is the sun. It's not even the center of the earth, for what they say. But for you to make that comment, that's the type of thing that I'm saying, like the actual fear of why they believe in this religion. Like, are you trying to apply that the center of the earth's core that's made out of lava, that's where hell is? Because if you're trying to apply that, I would suggest you go look at the Bible verse, read Luke 16, 19, and 31, where it talks about the rich man who was in hell, when it talk about the rich man and Lazarus. And from my understanding, the Bible said wherever that rich man was, he could look afar and he could see Lazarus in paradise, in the bosom of Abraham. So wherever this hell is or this paradise is, they're parallel to each other and they can see each other. The people in hell can see the paradise and the people in paradise can see people in hell. So how would that be the center of the earth? We know that these people, how far they can dig, like 20, 30 miles, they dig really far. How can someone from the center of the earth see someone in a paradise state? Like, you got to be like real critical thinking when y'all just say these things. I know you just want to, I know y'all just want this stuff to make sense, but I'm going to do this one day on my show. I'm going to break down the origin of hell and where this stuff come from. I mentioned a little bit on my show when I let them know there is a Nordic god. Her name is Hel, Hel, one L. We know the Greek, the Romans, before they were introduced to Christianity, when they was doing the mythology, they believed in a hell, but it was called Hades, underground where people go when they are bad people. So the hell concept is nothing original in the Bible. But I challenge you just to study this stuff, because remember, hell is not mentioned in the Old Testament. It's not there. Where the origin of the religion come from, Judaism, they don't talk about. They talk about a grave, a sleep, a darkness. It's only in
Sheol.
the New Testament all of a suddenly, oh, we have to be afraid of this torment and demons torturing us because we were not convinced that Jesus Christ was our Lord and Savior. Not that we didn't know, because we just wasn't convinced. Not that we were good people or bad people, because we know bad people can go to heaven if they believe Jesus Christ is their Lord and Savior. So I just wanted to address that, because when I seen that, I was like, well, are you trying to apply that hell is in the middle of the earth?
No, that's good. And I'm gonna add Richie. I thought I sent you the link, Richie, if you wanted to come on right quick. But I'm gonna say this for the believers, and when I say believers, I'm talking about mainly my Christian friends that like to throw science out. It seems like sometimes we use it selectively. Because Richie, I don't know if you were doing this, but sounds like you were trying to pull science that says, okay, the Earth is hot, and I think that it may be, but these same believers, when it comes to some of the science, will say if you can't actually get there, then it's still speculation. And I say that to bring up the fact that we have only gone as deep as 8 miles in the earth, haven't gone any further. Now, what did happen when they got to 8 miles, it did get very, 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 very hot. And the drill bits and all that stuff started breaking down. They couldn't go deeper than 8 miles. But that means we have never even seen the center of the earth. Nobody has seen the center of the earth. Just want to put that out there for the believers that try to. You can't use science both ways. I mean, I don't know which way you want to use it, but let's be consistent with it. Anybody else? Anybody else? Before we continue on here, any experiences,
Um,
testimonies, and I sent y'all the link. If y'all want to come up, I'm gonna drop the link one more time. Y'all go ahead.
All right.
hey, Willie,
Do you want
Willie,
me? Oh, go ahead.
leaving religion is Willie, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, no, that's Bruce. That's
He had,
Bruce. Leave
he
him.
had, oh, okay, my bad. But he had mentioned something. I think he was talking about when I said, I'm not, hold on. Let me go back to it's on my iPad. I'm multitasking here. But he said we can't just wait for answers. Observation from the public often help. I don't know if he was talking about what I was saying. I'm not saying wait for answers. We can always look into it. I'm just saying don't just come to a conclusion that that's what it is until we've actually figured out what it is. That's all
I
I'm
get it.
saying.
I get
Um,
it.
and,
Yeah.
and I and yeah, I can agree with that. What I think we're doing, what I see us doing is number one, we're not ignoring it. I don't think anybody should ignore the phenomenon. Something is happening. Some people are seeing something. To me, that like I don't think you're gonna convince me
Yeah,
that
I can't
some
dispute that.
people aren't seeing
Yeah.
something. But what it is, I don't know. And
Don't know.
if you push me, I'm gonna say no. I mean, if you, I will say I don't know. But if you pushing me for an answer, to me, the simplest answer is we figured out something that a lot of people have not figured out. And the reason I say that, and that too could be a little bit hard to believe. The reason I say that is because you have things like the Manhattan Project you got to look into. People look at Einstein's theory of relativity and they work out different ways for these equations in physics to work. So when we say, oh, it's breaking the law of physics, not really. Not if it's in the physical world, you really can't do that. But what you can do, there might be a way to manipulate what's going on around us that we're not aware of. So if gravity is a force, it was said that if it's a constant, okay, that it would remain where you can't manipulate it. A constant force you can't manipulate. Something that varies, they can work out equations,
Mm.
interact with it, and maybe change it. It could be, y'all, that somebody cracked the code on anti-gravity. Because a lot of these craft, when you see them, they have like a haze around them, which would indicate to me. Now, this me, I'm not a scientist, but let me give my speculation right quick. Since I don't really have a testimony. I never, well, I've never seen beings. I have seen something happen in that sky. I'm just saying, I seen something. I don't know what it was, but I saw it. And that was not too long ago. I'll tell y'all about that. But anyway, these things, and saying that these are aliens, or I don't know what they are. I'm just saying we are seeing something. Something is happening, and I forgot my other point. So Neil, you go ahead with Bishop. Yes.
Well, I was gonna say, all right, so let me just give you because I got a few, but I'm only gonna share one because of what we described with the angels, right? So this happened probably in 2013. I think it was 2013. And this happened right before I had my psychosis moment. I'm pretty open about it. I let people know like reason why I'm so passionate, open-minded, why I have a channel about philosophy and all that is because I had a temporary moment where religion, specifically Christianity, made me lose my mind for a while. People thought I was crazy. I had to go to the emergency room and told them like, "Hey, God is upset with me. Demons are attacking me. I seen images of hell and all that stuff, but I really, it was a dark time. It was a really, really dark time. And that feeling when you're trying to hold your mental state, when you're trying to hold your consciousness together, your state of mind, and you literally feel your mind breaking, that's not something I wish on anyone. That was a tough time for me. And so, but this happened right before that happened, like maybe a few weeks. I was I was feeling like sad and I had a feeling that something was going to happen, but I couldn't really explain it. I had went on a date with someone and I was telling them like I feel like my life is going to change, but I can't really explain it. And they were like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I was like, "I just feel like something big is going to happen to me, something different. I don't know how to explain it, but something's going to happen." And maybe a couple of months after that, I began to feel weird. Things seem to be weird. Things began to happen around me, and I was like really, really starting to like question like God, our purpose on life, like why is everything that we really enjoy here? Why is it so bad for us? Like I just began to just question stuff. And one day I had went to walk to a store, like it was like a Family Dollar, not so far from my apartment. And I walked over there and I remember I had my head down because I just had this real, real sad feeling over me, like something bad was going to happen or something was going to I couldn't shake the feeling. I was like, something's going to happen. So as I was walking to the store, a man came from around the corner like a building. It was a white man, an average looking white man, nothing unique about him. He looked like a parole officer, like he just looked normal, you know. And we crossed each other paths. Like as I walked down the sidewalk to walk to the Family Dollar, we like crossed each other. And as we crossed each other, I had my head down, but I did look up to look at him, watch my surroundings. And this white guy looked at me, stared me dead in my eye, and gave me the biggest smile ever. And that dude said to me, "We love seeing you." And I said, "Huh?" He said, "We just love seeing you." So then I said, "Okay." And then I just smiled back. And then I put my head down. And then like within 2 seconds, I was like, "Wait, who the hell is we?" You know what I'm saying? Like it registered. I was like, "Who's we?" So when I went to turn to ask him, "Hey, yo, who's we?" He was gone. True story. That man was and there was no way he went into a building, crossed the street, or anything without me seeing him because we was like in the middle of the sidewalk. And to this day, that shit kind of gives me goosebumps because I know I spoke to someone who said, "We love seeing you." And then he was gone when I lift my head down and lift it back up to, get a confirmation. Who is we? I don't know you. You know what I'm saying? It only took me a few seconds to realize what the hell he said. But then after that, that's when that whole psychosis shit began to happen and the rest is history. But that's one of the spooky stories where I tell people that I had someone talk to me and I don't know how to explain it, but they disappeared and it was a white guy, you know. So, but he looked normal. He didn't look. It wasn't no supernatural. He didn't look like no angel from the Book of Enoch. His hair wasn't long and blonde. He wasn't 10 foot tall. He was a
He didn't have a
regular.
black suit, white shirt, black
Nope,
tie,
he didn't
black
even. He didn't
glasses.
look like a man in black. He didn't even look like a man in black. He just looked like a normal. But it kind of creeped me because he was so happy to see me, like he knew me. Like that's what keeps creeping me out. Like I didn't fear him. I wasn't scared. I wasn't. I don't know how to describe it, but we made eye contact, and he was just. He told me we just love seeing you. And I'm like, who the hell is we? So that's one of my creepy supernatural stories that I share with people. And this is
Making me
before
want to
the
share. I'm gonna share before we get off. God,
no, this I mean I share it because I just let the people know this is before trip. So because some people like maybe it was your psychosis moment. Like my psychosis moment, it was, I'm telling, that feeling versus what I saw, that was different. The psychosis stuff got triggered when I smoked some marijuana, and I never admitted to the hospital that I did smoke weed and drank alcohol before I had this hallucination of people in hell. And now that I'm open and honest about my testimony, I let people know that what I kind of visioned or what I dreamed of looked like the game Dante's Inferno. I don't know if anybody a gamer, but when I finally was honest, I said, okay, that was my subconscious to giving me the imagination what I interpret hell to look like because I seen it in a video game. So but that's my story. I just wanted to share that with y'all. So when people say crazy and spooky stuff, I'll be like, bro, I can't explain everything, but there's some things that happen to me that I can't explain. So
I'm gonna say one. I'm gonna let the bishop talk, and then I'll share mine last. I don't know if it's really alien, but I had something similar to what you said kind of happened, Neil. But there were other witnesses to what happened to me.
that's why I was saying, like, hold on, like you see how Texas got us, which is a good question. Like, I'm not feeling no type of way, but you say, could that have been the beginning of your psychosis? But that's what I was trying to tell everybody before the psychosis thing happened. I felt something was off. And
Right,
I maybe that was a messenger or somebody to help me prepare for what was about to happen to me. I don't fucking know, but I just know that that was not. I wasn't scared. My psychosis moment, Texas Goddess, happened when I'm in a state of fear. Like only time I ever like not say hallucinated, but had dreams and thinking I was hearing shit is when I'm in a state of panic, like a panic attack. But in that moment, I was calm. I don't hallucinate, sis. I don't
right,
do that. But that's the only time I ever seen shit. But that story is one of the ones I can't explain.
right. Bishop, you got it.
Oh, no, no. All I was going to say was that's just interesting how she described that event that happened with her and the words that were said. I think you said, Neil, they said, or he said, we love watching you, right? Is that
No, no. He said we just love seeing you.
we just love seeing you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty amazing because to me, I don't think it's crazy at all. I think it's in alignment with what people in the Bible say that happened to them. And I really wasn't very focused today because I was driving and I had my kids and I was doing, probably hopefully the next one I can be a little more focused and I want to share a lot. But I think that's what the Bible is all about. I think it's a great possibility. They were sharing similar experiences as you. They see these people, and I think Eli, you talked about it earlier. Some of them look like men. They talk to them, and they're watching. Okay, watching and bringing messages? What do angels do? They watch. They bring messages. I don't think it's crazy at all, and I think it's probably, if there's any validity, I'll say it this way: if there is any validity to a lot of the biblical stories about these angels and the beings that they've seen, if there's any validity, it's probably alien contact. I'm just going to be honest with
Yeah, and let me say this, y'all, and I don't think. Hey, we sharing tonight. No judgment. If this story this happened and I'm still not a religious believer. I'm actually gonna share. I'm really shocked I'm finna share this. Y'all don't laugh at me. All right,
you. We're
here we
not
go.
gonna laugh. Oh, I'm laughing.
This
We're not gonna laugh.
Bishop, you got one of those faces. You don't laugh when they look at you.
I'm
Okay,
turning my camera off.
all right, for real. I just finished preaching. This is back when I was in the church. I was a believer. I was preaching. It was, I think it was near my son's birthday, but it was another member of the church's birthday, and my family, along with this church member, her daughter, and another friend of this church member who was not a member of the church, we all went to Maggiano's in the town center, Neo, over there in the town center here in Jacksonville. So I'm eating. No, the food hadn't come out yet. We had like a little appetizer, and my son we were like, we're gonna go to the restroom and we'll come back to the table. When I came back to this table, the lady that was a friend of the ladies whose birthday it was, who we went out to celebrate her and my son's birthday together, there was a white lady that approached as I was coming back to the table. A white lady approached this other lady whom I just came to visit the church that day. And she says, hello. And she said, I need to tell you. And she whispered in this lady's ear, right? White lady. And the lady left the restaurant. So I'm sitting there, we ain't thinking nothing of this. And the lady that got whispered to, she put her hands like this on the table, and she was breathing real hard, and her eyes started tearing up. She was like, and then I kind of called it. I said, are you okay? And then the lady next to her, the friend, was like, yeah, you're all right. We was all, none of the adults are like, are you all right? She said, I got to tell y'all what this lady just told me. And we were like, already, we was like, wait a minute, you don't know her? She was like, I ain't never seen that lady before in my life. I thought maybe the lady worked with her or something, all these black folk at the table, and this one random white lady come over and whisper there. I figured maybe that's somebody she worked with or whatever. This is what she said the white lady told her. This is, I wish I could remember what. This had to be 2016, 2017 tops, but probably 2016. This white lady told her, the man that's sitting with y'all, I was the only male at the table, with the black and white tie, which I did have on, the black and white striped tie. She said, the man, he is a man of God. She said, but he is going to say some things that the church ain't going to like, but he is telling the truth. He said, follow him. And the lady walked away. This happened, y'all. I got witnesses at the table. This happened. And
That's crazy, bro.
I was
That's
sitting there
deep.
like,
That's
when I
wild.
tell Bishop, you know how it was back in the day when that got said, I was just like, what? Man, he's really what? I was like, I'm really being
That the
watched
church
like
ain't gonna
that.
like.
Man, what?
Bro, y'all think it's these white people in here fucking with us, bro? Y'all think it's some elite white people?
It's a
Because
CON
your stranger
conspiracy.
was a white person, my stranger was a white person. Like, come on.
I don't know what they doing. What's up, Mo? You came back. You
Cause
got a
I be
story,
saying,
Mo?
I be like,
I
cause
got
bro, I
nothing.
remember our
I got
subconscious.
nothing.
I read books about our subconscious and how our brain does things. And I swear, one time I was convinced that somebody was fucking with my consciousness because I called it out. I was like, I kept seeing the same number over and over, and every time I would ask to see something that day, I saw it. I was like, okay, let me see this, but then let me see that, and let me see something like this. And it was like I would always see it. So finally I bust out laugh. I said, man, it's some people fucking, it's some white people fucking with our consciousness. I was like, what is going on? But
Let me
that's
let me
crazy.
let me answer this for Texas. No, I had not begun my deconstruction. I was full on, for Jesus. I was a soldier at this point. I was still in it. So when she said that's what that white lady said, bruh, like I literally, can you imagine being a believer now? Being a believer, y'all go with me as a believer, thinking you're actually being watched. Like all this stuff is real, and God got his finger on you. When I got up from that nasty food, because I can't stand Maggiano's. If y'all listening, that was garbage. All that money I spent on that meal.
Oh God.
But man, when I don't know. You just have to have it happen to you. I was feeling like something else. Something else.
Yeah. So there's a guy on my show, named KB who comes, or not KB, Kid, I think Gerbo or something. And Mo, I don't know you too much, but I would like to invite you one day to come on my show because he's a skeptic like you, and you and him sound the same, except for he's a little condescending and arrogant. No, it's not a
Okay.
bad thing though. It's not like you
Mm.
literally like did it in a mature way of saying that, and which is a fair statement until we can get an answer. if you want to be critical thinking, it's best to not assume. Like don't give it a supernatural stamp on it when we know it's unknown. And like I tell kid that a lot of the stuff that's unknown to us because we just don't have the technology to prove certain things yet. Like for instance,
That
he
could
likes to
be.
come to my show and try to debunk consciousness existing outside the body. And I was telling him that the scientists are saying that no, they cannot prove that yet. It's only because they don't have the technology, but it's enough evidence, like eyewitness testimonies, that people are saying that, hey, when I was being resuscitated, I was floating around, or I seen my mom crying in the emergency room, or they was describing conversations that the doctor was having with a loved one, and then they in the other room with their heart stopped. So it's just one of those things. Like I will invite you. I want to invite you because I was originally supposed to do this show with Kid, but he pissed me off yesterday on my show. But I think it'll be a better
He was too
dialogue with
condescending.
you, like me showing you the evidence,
Mm.
showing you the discussion, and then letting you use your skeptic way of thinking to see if you can, come to maybe an agreement that it's a possibility that consciousness exists outside the brain.
Mm-hmm. And y'all, Bruce put the scripture up. Bruce wasn't able to probably join us tonight, but like I said, I'm on this all week. Bruce put the scripture up, and yeah, I did. That was one of them scriptures that was kind of haunting me after the lady said what she said.
Mm.
But yeah, I want to give y'all a flow for one last second. Then I'm gonna tell y'all about some stuff that I do have, some videos I had when I first started my channel, going back to this technology that we're probably experiencing, why I kind of think it's us when it comes to some of the things we're seeing in the craft that are flying around. I did a video on this, but I want to get some more. I think Mo, you might have something to say, and then I'll tell y'all about the video I did when I first started my YouTube channel. I'll probably even show it to y'all tomorrow night because I got the receipts. Okay.
Mm. I guess I just want to say I appreciate all y'all. I stumbled on uh Willie Cartwright, I think first, and then you, Eli, and then Neil from you. But I appreciate all y'all, man. I ain't never had no experience like that. When I was a kid, stuff happened, but I don't even attribute it to nothing at this point. This lady told me I was gonna do great things for God one day, and that was before I deconstructed. So, and I don't even know if it was a deconstruction because I don't think I ever really believed anyway. But yeah, that didn't work out. She was wrong.
Yeah.
Unless something gonna change in me now, I doubt that very much. It would take a lot to convince me that there's a God, and B, that God is the biblical God. It just doesn't make sense to me at all. So yeah, I got
I
nothing.
feel you. I feel you. I feel you. On the technology, I'm gonna just tell y'all a little bit what the video was. Do y'all remember a helicopter talked about on Discovery Channel as a project for a stealth helicopter? It was called the Comanche. Anybody remember that? I used to watch
Don't they
Discovery
have the
Channel.
Comanche?
I'm coming to that. So in
All right.
Discovery Channel, they would talk about all this future stuff. Supposedly, it was a stealth attack helicopter. It was supposed to be like a stealth Apache. Okay, now they said that they scrapped the project because it was too expensive. Now, anybody that's been in the military know what that is, because there's there's black projects. I mean, this is not a secret. They expensive is not a thing. Let me just put that out. Y'all know that that's not a thing. Now, supposedly it was scrapped. No stealth helicopter exists. Blah blah blah. Right. Fast forward to Osama bin Laden. Y'all remember what happened, right? Supposedly this helicopter was on top of them and nobody heard it.
Yeah, and it
Mm.
even crashed. One of them crashed, and it still didn't alert anyone. One crashed, and one was
They
yeah.
had to they
That's what
had
they
to
said.
destroy
Yeah,
it,
that
like blow it up,
I.
because the technology, you can
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
reverse engineer this stuff. When you can reverse engineer. Now I'm just connecting some dots here. You go all the way back, Project too
Right.
expensive. Fast forward to real life. Oh, we had one crashed. So now everybody knows you can make a helicopter that won't produce noise. There could be one above your head right now. You
And
wouldn't
no,
know it. Now, that's the type of now, and the last thing, and I talk about this in my video. Y'all remember I was in I don't know if it was elementary school or sixth grade. Do y'all remember the Gulf War? Y'all remember the F-117? The F-117 is the stealth fighter. This is how we ran that war. Looking back, being in the military, but I didn't know this because I was a kid when the Desert Storm was going on. I was a kid. They sent in the F-117s that doesn't carry a big payload, but it carries enough because the F-117s go in and they cannot be detected by Iraqi radar. But the F-117's job is to take out the radar. So once they took out all the radars that couldn't see them, now you can send in everybody else unseen. All your F-18s and all your F-14s drop. Everybody dropping bombs, and the poor Iraqis didn't know where it was coming from because the ninjas had already been there and took out your surveillance. Now, why did I say that? Because in 1991, they revealed the F-117 as the cutting edge new technology. Nobody had anything like it, right? If you do the history on the F-117, the technology was perfected before 75, 1975. So you're talking about going to war. Oh, look at this. Oh, this technology. Bro, that's old. That's old. And I'm speaking, I got the receipts on that. There are things in my sector that I used to work on, and I still can't talk about. Nothing that exotic. I ain't see no craft, but it's just capabilities that I can neither confirm or deny. So, but this one is known, so I bring it out in my video. If you think it's not possible to have these type of things or humans produce this stuff, I'm just asking you, consider your F-117 that you didn't know about. Consider the F-22. That's the premier fighter of today. So guess what? If you know about it, America, if the world
Hey,
knows about it, that's old. Somebody say, hey, go ahead.
hey, Eli.
Yes, sir. That's you, Mo? Go ahead.
That's another thing. I heard that recently that all these alien crafts that our military was seeing. Yeah, that's me. All the military crafts that, well, all the seeing and they couldn't figure out what it was. They now could be China. It could be Russia, and that's the scariest part. Like I'm not scared. Like aliens don't scare me. It's if China has that type of technology, that scares me. So I'd be more concerned about that than concerned about aliens.
Well, let me say this from a military perspective. I'm not afraid of another country and their technology. From a
Mm.
military perspective, another country. Now, if there was something outside of Earth, if we could establish that it really is outside of Earth, and we might talk about this tomorrow some more, I would definitely be concerned. The reason I say I'm not concerned about it being from here and another military possessing some high tech stuff is because the honest truth, y'all, everybody's looking at everybody. I mean, when we
Mm.
developed nuclear weapons, okay, so Russia had it within less than 4 years after we had it. And I'm gonna say generally, even companies like Apple that keep their stuff secret, the next company, they usually have it within 6 months to a year. So I'm not too concerned about a country having some tech that's so far in advance we can't do nothing with unless there are aliens and they only talking to one government.
And they feeding them.
now, if you got a partnership with them, now we have Houston. We have a real problem. God darn it, we got a real problem. We gotta be careful. So I say that because if you put in perspective the rate at which technology moves, and just that simple, I'm not trying to be elaborate, but you put together that simple understanding. Everybody knows the stealth fighter is a thing. Everybody, well, not everybody, but a lot of us remember when that thing rolled out in 1991. People was looking at that like, what? That don't even look like a conventional fighter. Look at it. It looks like an alien something. But it did what it did. It did what it was supposed to do. And that's old people. So we talking about 91, 2001. Here we what is that? 30 years ago? 30 years ago? And now you got the F-22. And I'm telling you now, if they release the F-22, that means it's old. It is not the best of the best that exists. I'm not, but you can't know that, and I wouldn't want if you protected me, bro. If you're security, one reason they travel roll like they do in some, I don't want you to know what all my security got at their disposal to neutralize you as a player. I don't want you to know that because you plan for that. You see what I'm saying? And you up your security. So as a nation, nah, I'm not trying to tell you what I really got. But if you see what I got, just know I got more than this. And that's what this country does. That's why it's so dominant militarily and otherwise, because it's sickening. And I'm gonna get into some of that maybe tomorrow, y'all, about the scientists and why the physics, some of these physicists are talking about it could be that when they figured out how to manipulate gravity and all these other things, that this was not shared with the physics community, because they take the best minds into these facilities. They monitor at some of these high level universities. Y'all know who they are. I don't have to say all of them. And these are the people that go away to work at places like Groom Lake. Groom Lake is the dried up lake bed where area 51 is in Nevada. So we are at 9 o'clock. Hey, I'm just glad y'all came in. Tomorrow, well, Neo, you got something? Wait. What you got here?
Hey, but hold on before you share it. Just go to your banner and type the word fair use and put it up.
All right, let me do that first.
And they saying it's some feedback. The people on my channel saying there's feedback.
I think it's the sound of our voice coming through somebody's mic. Because let me make a banner.
But yeah, I just want to make joke. I just want to play this. I just thought it was funny. It's something that Erica Badu, and a lot of people look to her for like spiritual. There's something different about her. She like Prince, that we all feel like there's some people here that's just from another world. But I'm going to show you this video. What
I
she
just
said
put the words fair use, and that's
just type the word fair use, and then I guess say it that you using this content under fair use. Because I'm telling, when I put that up, I don't get strike.
Wait, that's not where it was supposed to go. Hold on.
No, it's fine. That's where I put mine at.
No, it wanted to scroll at the bottom.
No, I put it just like that and leave it. So yeah, I would leave it like that.
All right, you put it just like this.
Fair use, and then I just say it, and I just say I'm using this content under fair use.
All right, I'm using this content under fair use. We're gonna keep it like that, and but you got to play it on your end, but
I'm gonna play it. That's not to make sure you said it, but yeah, this is funny to me.
Fair use, YouTube. Don't be messing with my stuff.
I have not had any close encounters, and I'm pissed, and I'm trying to figure out what makes me not good enough for aliens. I definitely don't want to think it's anything negative about me, because I'm doing everything that you would possibly do to get abducted. I read all the shit. I stay out late by myself. I have a little keyboard and I play the do-do-do-do-do all the time. I have not had any close encounters, and I'm pissed. And I'm trying to figure out what makes me not good enough for aliens. I definitely don't want to think it's anything negative about me, because I'm doing everything that you would possibly do to get abducted. I read all the shit. I stay out late by myself. I have a little keyboard and I play the do 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 do
That's
do
funny.
all
I
the
want to
time.
hear it again.
I have not had any close encounters and I'm pissed. And I'm trying to figure out what makes me not good enough for aliens. I definitely don't want to think it's anything negative about me, because I'm doing everything that you would possibly do to get abducted. I read all the shit. I stay out late by myself. I have a little keyboard and I play the do 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 all the time.
That
I
tripped
have
me
not
out.
had
Hey,
any.
all right, all right. She
That's
Hey,
said,
hilarious.
I tried to stop there. Go. Yeah,
that's
that
funny.
shit was funny because Erica Badu,
She
she said
wild.
she been doing everything, and here I got, and all I did had some white dude say some shit to me, but she said she did everything she could. She stayed outside at night.
That's the closest I had happen to me. I mean, I saw some stuff in the sky. I'll tell y'all about that tomorrow, but
And she said she ain't get no proof. I hope them aliens, them white people that's fucking with me, if there is some superior white race, can y'all go talk to Erica Badu because she been trying to reach y'all. I'm good. I don't know if I want to talk to y'all. Y'all be fucking with my shit too much. But yeah, I thought that was
oh,
funny since we
I,
was talking about aliens.
I see somebody said the U.S. spends $800 billion a year on military defense, and while that sounds like an
Right.
astronomical number to people, that's not high enough. I'm just here to tell you that's not that. That's good. That's the budget we know about. I need to find this interview with the Marine Corps guy. He testified because y'all, when you sign these papers, when you sign these NDAs, these non-disclosure act papers, they don't have to answer like you think. It is not the same game out there. We're talking trillions. We ain't talking billions. We are talking trillions. Okay, to put, I think it's the stealth bomber. One of them. One stealth bomber. I want to say it's something to the tune of 80 billion or close to that. Just start adding up what we have out there that you know about, and you will get well past the 800 billion a year. You'll get well past that. I haven't looked at it in a while. But anyway, hey y'all, thank y'all for coming on. I appreciate it. Everybody's invited back. If you got the time, just come on back tomorrow at the same time. So y'all can have some last words. Bishop, Mo, Neo.
Yeah, Neo. I can't go on your show today. I got off work. I
No,
gotta get in the
not
shower.
today.
Okay.
No,
All
no,
right.
not today. I said we have to schedule something in the future.
All right.
No. Maybe I misspoke, but it's definitely no. I only go live now on Wednesdays and Sundays, talking to Eli's audience. If y'all want to come and check me out, I chose Wednesdays and Sunday nights, like between 6 and 7, because I don't want to compete with Eli, because I feel like he's doing a really, really good job, and I enjoy his show. So, and for people and people who's watching from my channel, please, I put Brother Eli's. On Voice of
Thanks,
Eli,
man.
I put it in this chat, and then y'all come to like and subscribe. And he goes live on Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursday, right? Eli at 7. So at 7. So y'all come and check him out too.
Right. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday at 7.
Yeah, but no, I do Wednesdays and Sundays.
Okay. All right.
My next guest is Bruce.
Right.
I think me and
Bishop,
Bruce
you want
linking
to
up
say
Wednesday.
anything?
Well, just thank you for having us tonight. Appreciate the opportunity. Also, I want to thank you, Eli, for sharing your perspective as far as the military. I found that quite intriguing. And I thank you for adding that value to the conversation. It was very intriguing. But looking forward to more. That's all. Enjoyed everybody, by the way. Neil, always enjoyed your presence.
Yeah,
Appreciate
I
all
like
y'all.
Bishop. Hey, I like you too, bro. Like you just I just be like, he just don't be. They be getting mad because then one brother got mad because you still use the word name Bishop or something. He was trying to say who? Yeah, I was like, that's his name.
Yeah.
He can use it, like.
I
But
do,
I like
and I
too,
use it to trigger. That's one of the reasons why I use it to trigger them. And when they ask me why, I say, "Cause fuck you." That's why.
Yeah, because it worked. When he couldn't get around your answer, when you had him in that box, when he couldn't get the best thing he punched, he had to throw, well, why you using the name Bishop? What that got to
Right.
do with the contradictions in the Bible? Not a damn thing. So,
Nothing at all. Nothing at all.
but
Well,
yeah,
hey,
just
go ahead.
Mo, send me your email. So,
Okay, you want
Yeah.
me to post how I send it to you?
oh, send it to Eli. Eli, send it to me.
Okay.
Okay. Mo, let me see. I think I got you on the messenger,
I
right?
inbox you. Yeah, I
I
inbox
got
you.
you on here. All right, family. Hey, y'all, come on back tomorrow. We're gonna be in here. But for right now, y'all know what it is. I'ma send y'all out listening to the chief. Appreciate you.
They're watching.
I can find God in anything I'm
Do do
reflecting
do
in.
do
You can
do.
see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything
Some
I'm
people
reflecting
open up their eyes
in.
and see the world they know outside. I can close my eyes and see all that and way beyond. When these trials of life come heavy and these obstacles get hard, feeling like I need some answers, I just go and talk to God. I just go and talk to God when I'm looking for guidance. Need more insight, need vision, need direction when I'm blinded. Then I start that conversation with that voice I hear inside me. And the conversation starts with a voice inside that sounds just like me when I talk to God.
See God in anything
When I talk to God.
find God in anything.
When I talk to
You
God.
can see God in anything.
When I talk to
I
God.
can find God in anything.
When I talk to God.
See God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.
My daddy said, don't ever assume, ask questions. It's ironic it was that advice that helped this song happen. It was also that advice that led me to my life's blessings. That same advice helped me make it through life's lessons. It was that advice that separates grown-ups away from children. That advice can be the difference from knowing or just believing. It was that advice that brought the gavel down on my decision of breaking the mental chains of this man created religions. His faith and belief, nonsense, the biggest scam ever. I hate to say it. I swear this one hell of a mental illness. We don't believe no other time. Why we do it with these religions? A fact that COVID's killing while all of these guys is missing. A lot of hide and seek and peek and booze. Guys playing games with you. I'ma just assume he ain't got no COVID miracles. Maybe he ran out after making the donkey talk, or them stories about a guy walking on water tides. This is simply a distraction to keep you away from you and to look outside for a guy when the God is inside of you. When you close your eyes at night to pray to that voice you talking to. When you ready to face the truth, you realize that that voice is you.
You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in. You can see God in anything your reflections in. I can find God in anything I'm reflecting in.